Yeah, buy me some sweet Hubnut merch. We already knew for doing that is illegal. Using a mobile phone to make a phone call or an email or text, already illegal. But from the 25th of March, even doing this became illegal. This is a specific offence of using my mobile phone to record video. So what's changed and why? So from the 25th of March 2022, as I hinted, the law changed around the use of these items, mobile phones, because there existed a loophole before, a loophole that had been successfully used by quite a few people. One was the comedian Jimmy Carr, who when caught making a mobile phone call, allegedly, he claimed he was recording a joke, and that wasn't a specific offence at the time. Similarly, someone else got caught filming a road collision on a motorway and were prosecuted for it, but the case got thrown out of court after going through quite a few levels because technically he'd done nothing wrong, not in the eyes of the specific law at that time. It only said you were not allowed to use one of these for making a phone call or a text message. So obviously technology has moved on. We use these things for all sorts, recording video, WhatsApp conversations, whatever. There's a lot of things. So the law has been tightened, and pretty much anything you do with a phone in your hand is now illegal. Now, where the law gets a little vaguer is around the use of a mount. Firstly, I had some comments on a previous video I did about mobile phone use. It is not a specific illegality to have my phone here in the swept area. It could be considered unwise. I think you're very unlikely to get prosecuted for that, but this is not legal advice, I hasten to point out. I can now use my phone to do lots of things. I can legally send an email on that, but there are also offences of driving without due care and attention, even dangerous driving. So it's a very risky game. I wouldn't recommend that at all. Some people say you should never touch your phones at all during a journey, which is all well and good, but not necessarily practical. But there are actual facts behind this that may make you want to pay attention to what I say next. So a study found that lots of things affect driver attention. Interestingly, drunk driving only made drivers 12% slower to react in the lab conditions. I don't know how drunk they were allowed to get. Using cannabis, 21% slower. Perhaps not very surprising. It is called dope with good reason. Coming in at 27%, hands-free phone use. So even if I've got my phone in a holder here, it will still distract me potentially. And I have to say, I think I agree with that. I generally avoid making handheld phone calls, hands-free phone calls even, generally because my cars are too loud to have a conversation, and mostly because it is distracting. You can't escape that. Phone calls are distracting in a way having someone in the car isn't, because the person in the car can see what you're doing, and when you have to pay attention to what's going on, they can accept that there will be a pause in the conversation. But someone on the phone, it tends to demand our attention much more, so it's still a distraction. That leaps to 46% slower if it's a handheld phone conversation. I guess because you're now occupying one of your hands, so it's not available for driving. And it's that much more immersive, I think. You know, the things we do, we'll often pace up and down a corridor on a phone conversation, and we're not really aware we're pacing up and down the corridor, but we're on a phone call. It's just, how these things go. Apparently, even using Android Auto and Apple stuff, the equivalent, that's over 50% slower. That takes a lot of energy away. Texting, 35%, which I find surprising. I thought texting would make you a lot slower. But again, this is just lab conditions. The key takeaway really is distraction. So while it's legal to play around with your phone like this, the law is very clear that you must not be distracted. There are quite a few offences, none of them specific. And that's the problem. It's always open to interpretation. So I could record my videos and that's fine. I'm touching my phone. It's not held in my hand, it is here, that is okay. And similarly with the camera. But the camera is an interesting one actually, because it's now a device which can communicate. Now here's something that's also open to interpretation. What is a device? The legislation has been changed to a device that can communicate. So not necessarily a mobile phone, an iPad, for instance, with a 4G card in it, could communicate. Whether this camera I'm recording on could communicate is an interesting one. It has got its own Wi-Fi, it could connect to other devices, but it hasn't got a card in it. It can't connect to the mobile network. But accessing the internet is part of the list of things you cannot do with the device held in your hand. Now, I'm on private ground at the moment. The car is turned off. I do not drive along holding cameras because I don't think it's safe to do so. And the law is increasingly starting to catch up with that. So generally, best to avoid having anything in your hand. But yeah, I just wanted to try and talk about the specific laws, because I've had people say, oh, it's illegal to have your phone mount in the swept area. Arguable, but that's very much up for debate. I will say, if you put your phone mount here, then you deserve to get stopped. That's just stupid. But where mine is, it's mostly blocking my view of that windscreen wiper, and about half of it is blocking a view of the bonnet. I can still clearly see over it. I'm not going to miss something that's there because my phone is mounted there. That is why I mount my phone there. The mirror is actually a bigger impediment to my vision than my phone in that mount there. And of course, we've also got the debate around touchpads, and I think that's probably why the law says you can touch your phone, you can use it as a sat nav, you can even access your playlists on it. That's because cars kind of do that anyway. Modern cars will have big touchpads and let you select your music. You've got to go through the heater controls on menus and stuff like that. So they're under pressure. They can't really make that illegal, because that would make quite a lot of cars illegal. So perhaps the law isn't quite paying enough attention. There's plenty of distractions that aren't against the law. Children, you can have children in your car. Children can be monumentally distracting. Radios can be distracting. Anything that takes your attention away from the road is bad news. So you have to bear that in mind as well. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the specifics. For if that phone is in your hand for any but 2 reasons, yeah, it's bad times. So here are those 2 reasons. One of the reasons is if you want to pay. So you pull up at your drive-through, you can remove your phone from the mount. Once the car is stationary, handbrake on, out of gear, etc., I can use my device to pay. You'll have to imagine there is a McDonald's or other fast food restaurants are available there. And then I can put it back in its mount, and that is entirely legal. The other reason is if I'm in a car without a mount, perhaps I've got my phone sitting down there. I do sometimes do that. If I haven't got a mount in the car, phone goes there, I ignore it, but it's there. If I was driving down a motorway, I saw a collision, I saw something dangerous, I thought this is an emergency, I'm under no obligation to pull over to the side of the road. I can pick my phone up, I can dial 999 or 112, the international emergency number. 999 is the UK one, and I can make a phone call to the police and say this situation needs dealing with, and I don't have to stop the vehicle. Phoning the operator, asking someone for directions, not legal. But making an actual genuine emergency call, that is entirely legal. The law accepting that speed is of the essence here. If you've seen an accident on the motorway, then there is a need to respond immediately. So those 2 specifics, paying when you're stationary at a fast food restaurant, or using this to make an emergency phone call, those are the only legal reasons you can use your phone while behind the wheel of a car. So bear that one in mind. I hope that's brought some clarity to it. I know some people don't agree. The black belt barrister, who I respect enormously, very knowledgeable man, is kind of the opinion that you should never touch your phone. But I just take a slightly more realistic view that we need to touch our phones. And there are occasions where you want to. I might want to leave a message for my girlfriend, and I can press the microphone button and leave a message. I don't have to look at it. I can keep my eyes on the road and just say I'll be home in half an hour, or there's been an accident, I've been held up. I'm not into having big lengthy conversations behind the wheel because I don't think it's safe. It's slightly different if I'm recording a video. I will have the camera or phone in a mount, secure, and also I will be paying attention to the road. So if I stop recording, or if I stop speaking while recording, I can edit that out later and you don't see that. But no, my attention was on the road. So sometimes I will just stop speaking. I will have to start recording again because something's happened. I've had to pay attention. Driving has to come first. But there you go. I hope that's brought some clarity to it. In short, if you've got a mobile phone in the car, put it in a mount, and you can do pretty much anything with it. But if you are unduly distracted, the police can prosecute you under some wider ranging powers. So yeah, pay attention behind the wheel, and hopefully everyone will be a lot safer as a result. I mean, we've all seen it, haven't we? The classic scenario, people driving along and they're sort of texting away. They're not even looking where they're going, because us humans are annoyingly good at driving on peripheral vision. You know, we learn the roads, but when you're on peripheral vision, you're not necessarily going to spot the hazard. We've had horrible incidences of trucks plummeting into the back of traffic queues they simply haven't seen, killing people outright. And it just happens all the time. So we need to sort of stop that. We all need to be better. So I'm not saying just ignore the laws and do whatever you like on your phone, as long as it's in a mount. Take care, use precautions, but it is not illegal for you to touch your phone. It's only illegal for you to hold your phone. I think that's enough on that topic. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget you can head to the Hubnut store. We've also got a separate link down below for our hoodie store, which now has some Giselle merchandise. So I'm here in my Citroen GSA. We now have some Giselle merchandise. I need to order some myself so I can show it off better. Various colours, not just black. We can do all sorts. So yeah, go and check out that in the link below. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in a future video. Farewell.